Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of The Weekend Footballer. I am your host, Ricky T, and this is your new favourite football show situated entirely around Australian football and the rest of Asia. This is one of the only football shows where you get the opportunity to call in via Discord and tell me what you think about these topics, what you think the opinion should be. This is your show after all, and this is your new favourite football show. Now, before we do get started, I just want to, touch base just a little bit. We have Gianni Infantino in the building tonight, and I just really want to ask him how he's feeling today. So Gianni, how are you feeling?
Today I feel gay.
Wow, oh Gianni, you really shouldn't say that. That's look, good for you, but it's not really the type of show that we're going for. Do you want to try that again? Yeah.
Today I feel African.
Seems to me as though Gianni Infantino is having a conscience of minds here. I don't really think he understands exactly where he is or what he's doing. And if you're wondering why I'm looking over here, is because this is where my OBS is. I have like my info in front of me here, got my microphone here, doesn't matter. Right. So tonight's show is going to be situated very much around, we're going to start off talking about the A-League and the fact that the APL is again not paying the players, and the fact that we've had a Australia Cup semi-final with 6,600 people for an NPL game, which in itself is fucking amazing. We've also had the final of the Hyundai Cup, the Asian Hyundai Cup, which was done between Vietnam and Thailand, where Vietnam happened to get the upper leg on Thailand. And we're going to dive a little bit more into that later on. There's some surprises there, and a surefire way to kick yourself in the butt, which happens to be what Thailand decided they were going to do last night, and I think the whole world needs to see it. We're also going to touch base quickly on the J-League. We're going to have a quick talk about the Ura Red Diamonds and how bad their season has actually become. And then we're also going to have a look at Makeda Zelvia. I think I've said that right. Is it? Did I say that right? Makeda Zelvia. Who are just on fire at the moment. They are at the top of the J-League. They've scored more goals than anyone else. They've conceded like the least goals of anyone. It really doesn't look as though at this point that anyone's going to be able to reach them. But look, before we even get into that, let's just dive in, right? I'll just open up my notes and we'll just go ham, right? And one thing I've found since I've been going through all of my stuff on football, and particularly due to looking into the APL, I can't help but feel one certain way. And a good friend of ours is going to he sums it up quite well.
It's fact.
It's fucked. Completely fucked. When you have a look at the way that the APL goes about things, right? There are 5 things in life, 5 things that you can absolutely guarantee on, okay? If you're a fan of Asian football, finding a game is going to be near impossible to do. Near impossible. You're going to have unprotected sex on the internet for you to be able to find a football game to watch. Thank God for Asian United FC, because they stream all of their stuff on there, which really is quite handy. 2, the J-League is always going to pull massive numbers. In their first 3 games, they've been averaging 46,000 people to their games. 46,000 people. We're lucky to get 8,000 to a game. They have 46. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. 3, the Champions League draw for the elite stage makes no sense until you actually dive into it, and it's fucking weird, I'll tell you that much. 4, Thailand and Vietnam will meet in the Hyundai Cup final. As I said before, they did meet in the final, as they have over the last 4 finals. It's been a constant thing for that, and that's starting to become a trend we're going to see as years go on with the Hyundai Cup and the Asian Cup, which is coming up later on this year. And 5th, the APL are again not paying wages to players. Oh yes, in the year 2026, the A-Leagues are still thinking that they're living in a Charles Dickens story and have decided that A Christmas Carol is their modus operandi. which comes as bad news for Tiny Tim and his best friend tuberculosis, as his dad doesn't get paid, and neither do the A-League players. And unlike Ebenezer Scrooge, the A-League isn't visited by ghosts of A-League's past, so their realization of fair treatment for employees hasn't come. Because, again, the league isn't paying players. And when asked, why aren't you paying the players, the A-Leagues have responded in kind.
I say bah humbug.
Bah humbug! Bah humbug! The A-Leagues themselves shoot themselves in the foot all of the fucking time. Ebenezer Scrooge is a much more kind individual than the APL is right now, and have been over the last 10 years. Right? Now, I bring this up because apparently the A-Leagues have fucked up a bargaining agreement between the players and the clubs, with the players' union and the clubs. And the whole idea was about how they're going to structure the league. What's the direction the league's going to go? But no, the players had actually, from my understanding, the players had actually agreed on principle to sign this contract. However, the clubs not paying these players have made the players walk away from the table. We are actually coming really close to industrial action on this. And this would be the first time that players in this league have turned their back and said, no, we're not doing it. But look, we are 1.5 months away from starting. We start in October, right? It is now the 27th of August. I should know that. It's my daughter's birthday a couple of days ago. Shouldn't forget that. She'd kill me. We're 1.5 months away from the league starting, and again, there is a really strong possibility that, unlike 2015, when we entered into similar waters as we are now, the league may actually not start. It may not start at all, which would mean that commercial agreements are going to fall through. But after all, it's not all negative. It is the world's longest off-season, so this does give us a little bit of entertainment outside of the action of the NPL season. I mean, look at what we are offering our fans. Japan are pulling 45,000 to round 2 between Ura Red Diamonds and Sanfrecce Hiroshima, and the goal numbers are fucking huge. What we get are reports from ESPN of the APL, again, kicking a team out of the competition, then messing up a bargaining agreement. I think at this point, we all need to be questioning whether or not the APL even knows what the hell they're even doing. Because their modus operandi, their modus of working, of throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks, clearly isn't working, and they haven't seemed to be learning their lesson. After all, Western United was it's fucking the worst non-geographically specific fucking club in history. But they were a Western club, a Western Melbourne club, that played in the south of Melbourne, that trained in the centre of Melbourne, that didn't actually have anything around it whatsoever. So if we're going to take a club like that, and we're going to give them a platform, why don't we just embrace the retardation? Why don't we just embrace it, right? And we'll God, I think the next club should be Port Hedlands. Because that is right up the alley of the APL, of their stupid decisions, right? But let's look at the Western United stuff. Let's really have a look at this, right? And because it really needs to be pulled into action. So at what point do the APL actually look at their actions and think, maybe we've been going about this all wrong? Because I've personally seen better course corrections from Star Citizen, and that game has been more broken than my first year programming assignment, and that thing never launched. I failed that course, first year programming, and that certainly ran better than Star Citizen. And Star Citizen's broken, but they work better than the APL. So when we look at the history of the A-League, we currently have 12 active teams in the league, probably 11 now because we've lost United, right? So since 2005, we have had 4 teams kicked out of the league. So that's a total of 16 teams. And only 11 have survived, 11 or 12. I haven't actually counted them again. And I don't know about you, but that screams to me as that the model of creation isn't working. It's almost like creating a club out of nowhere in an environment that already has established clubs, culture, history, and a fan base doesn't work. Maybe I'm an idiot. You're watching this, so maybe you're an idiot too. I don't know. But let's be honest, 4 failed attempts. Aren't you slightly insane if you get to the point of making the same mistake 3 times and not actually learning from that? Are you mad at that point? 4 seems a bit fucking dumb to me. I'm honestly just dumbfounded. Like, when you're picking up the new team that's going to come in, you got to really think, who is a team that could easily fit into that slot, that has everything that you could possibly need to move forward? And that for me has to be Melbourne. It is South Melbourne Football Club. South Melbourne have been around for a long time. They're otherwise known as the Hellers. And it's a no-brainer to me. They have a club, they have fans, they have history, they have a stadium, and what's more important is that they're stable. They are not strapped for cash. Some of their players are played quite well. They're hitting they're in the final of the Australia Cup. They are competing in the Oceania Championship. There's no reason for a club like that to not be in the league, and I have a feeling that if they were to be given the building blocks to go up, they'd be able to do it quite well. But if history tells us anything, the APL are not going to look at them. They're not. They're just going to go, they're going to get a map and they're going to get a pen, close their eyes and be like, where should we put a club? Bam. Port Hedland. That's where we should be. An area with nothing. That's because that's the APL way. But look, maybe, just maybe, I am giving the APL too much credit here. All right, too much credit. Because if the APL can't even click pay on their payroll system, we can't expect them to have any kind of real forward thinking. Honestly. And look, I just have to ask this question again. What do you think about that, mate?
It's fact.
Agreed. It's fucked. But in saying it though, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to like the next little bit, because there's no way you're gonna want to sit here and listen to me carry on about the A leagues for fucking however long this takes. Let's go and have a look at the Hyundai Cup. All right, now this I am clearly a fucking moron. I'm clearly an idiot, and things are going to happen. I'm going to mess it up a lot, okay? So just bear with me. But last night, Game 2 of the Hyundai Cup was played. This is the final. Now, Thailand had previously lost in Game 1 2-0 to Vietnam in Bangkok. Game 2 was last night, and Vietnam hosted the War Elephants in Hanoi. And the Golden Stars managed to fight them and keep them off for the entirety of the game. But if you go ahead and have a look, you could actually see that Thailand was on top of Vietnam. Absolutely on top of them. Thailand had the better the better possession, they had the better plays, they had everything you needed to win the game. And like, I'm just going to play a couple of highlights for you, okay?
Sexan, it might break. Oh, what a goal! What a start for...
That's a fucking amazing opening goal. It's like 7 minutes into the game. And like, if you're watching this live, you're gonna think of that and think, wow, Thailand are gonna come back into this. You know, at that point, they're 2-1 down. 2-1 down in aggregate. They're about to pull this back. They're gonna start pounding in. They're gonna be a 4-time reigning champion of ASEAN, you know, of the Hyundai Cup, the ASEAN champion. But things just don't always go your way. Now, if you watch this is the first time that Thailand have an issue, right? They are awarded a penalty. something that I forgot to add to my playlist of videos because I'm an idiot. They're awarded a penalty, which they miss. And when I say they miss, he skyrockets it. He aims it for the top right-hand corner. It goes right over the net. It's honestly a shot to forget. You just want to look past it, pretend like it didn't happen. Then the unthinkable happens.
Twantai. For balls off the post and in off the hill. The equal.
You saw that. You did. You saw that. Unfortunately, a shot from Vietnam's Brazilian-born nationalized player, Nguyen, hit the post, hit the keeper in the ankle, own goal 1. It's really unfortunate. Those things don't normally happen in football. 9 out of 10 times, Nguyen's hitting that right into the net. And he's one of the most sought-after players in Asia right now. After the 6 goals or something he scored in this cup, he's been absolutely on fire. Now, Thailand didn't necessarily sit back here. They pushed forward. And they scored this goal.
Floated to Beer. Oh, it might break. Oh, grandstand finish. Wanchai.
Fucking great goal. It's brilliant. However, Thailand is still behind. Right? So at this point, it's now, 2 in the first game. They've scored 2 goals. They've conceded 1. So they're 3-2 at the moment. So they're down on aggregate. They need to score another time to go to win this game or to send it through to extra time. But sadly, the unthinkable happens.
Has a chance to play it forward to Swanson. Swanson and an own goal from Wanchai.
One of the most beautiful goals you will ever see in football. Fucking magical goal. It's a goal. One of the best goals that have ever goaled Goal Town. Except it's an own goal. Effectively handing Vietnam the cup. Sending Thailand out. Now, I can only imagine the pain that they felt after that. And I've got to be honest, it's funny. It's funny as fuck. Whenever you see a team score own goals and ruin their own title chances, I'm going to laugh at them. I absolutely am. Mostly because, well, if I'm not laughing, I'm crying. My wife is Thai. She fights better than me. So I'm not going to mess with her. She'll come in with the flying elbow. She'll beat me up. That's just how it's going to be. So I'm not. I am going to laugh at this, and I'm going to continue to laugh at it because it's fucking amazing. Let's look at that own goal again.
Has a chance to play it forward to Swanson. Swanson and an own goal.
Holy shit. That gets better the more you watch it.
Has a chance to play it forward to Swanson. Swanson and an own goal.
I think what makes it even better is that it's a half volley. It hits the ground, it bounces in front of him, and then he just boots it in. It's fucking hilarious. Oh my god, it's so funny. I'm actually really quite happy with that. I really, really am. But, I've given it 5 minutes of chat time. There's not much else for me to say there other than, congratulating Vietnam for their win in such spectacular fashion. You very rarely see a team destroy themselves the way that Thailand destroyed themselves last night. And it's almost as bad as Celtic getting knocked out of the Champions League today. But this is not a European football show. This is an Asian football show. So we're not going to talk about that. But another moment of hilarity. So let's have a look now at the J-League. Now, we are going to be focused. I have royally fucked this up in a big way, haven't I? I sure have. Now, if you haven't been paying any attention to the J-League at all, the Ura Red Diamonds, otherwise known, or colloquially known as the Red Diamonds, consider themselves to be the Manchester United of Asia. They are one of the most supported teams in the country, as well as in the region. Now, at the moment, they are currently 3 losses for 3 games. It has to be one of the most disastrous starts for the Red Diamonds in at least a decade, if not longer. So much so that the manager, who I did actually have his name. So Cho Ji Wei is being the manager. I'm probably fucking butchering that, and oh well, it is what it is. So tonight's game, we're going to be focusing on the Red Diamonds versus Machida Zelvia game. Right. So far, this is very much a tale of two stories. The Ura Reds have had one of the most disastrous starts for the Red, where they have lost all 3 of their opening games. This is something that their new manager Cho would not have had in his big plans for the season. In the J League, as I said before, the Reds are considered one of the largest clubs in the region. They have currently conceded the most amount of goals, that being 11, in just 3 games. However, the stat, goal difference, doesn't look so bad considering they've been able to score 5 goals in 3 games. But it certainly doesn't help the fact that they have conceded more goals than anyone else in the league so far. For me, I think it's a complete disaster. So much so that there's now fresh speculation that Cho is going to be removed as manager. Pressure is mounting on him every single day, every training session. The Japanese press have been watching. The Japanese fans have been very active on social media, particularly X, which has been funny because it hardly translates like Japanese. So you have to go to forums to find these. And I can tell you, there's a lot of people who, one, don't like the fact that Cho came from a opposing team within the J League, who he won the championship with. He's come from them over to the Red Diamonds. Fans don't like him as a result of that. He's now lost 3 games in a row. Now, I don't necessarily think that would be too much of an issue if he didn't then go in during the off season, and remembering that Japan have moved their playing season from January to August. They've moved it now to match the European season. So they're now playing in August through to May, I think. It's quite a long season. It matches the European season, so it's about 3 weeks or so. Give me one sec. I have a comment that I haven't seen because I'm a fucking moron. Yes, darling, thank you. Don't get me wrong, she's yeah. She's way smarter than me. Way smarter than me. My lady, she kicked my ass. Anyway, so where was I? I got distracted with that message. Here we are. Okay. So the Reds have brought in 5 players during the off season, all of them defensively minded players, right? And we talk about these defenders, because they haven't necessarily come from the worst possible locations, right? Like, so we have the Ura Red Diamonds, and they have brought in Tetsuki Seko. He has come in from Stoke City. He's an amazing signing. Miki Yamune has come in from the LA Galaxy. Another incredible signing. Then they've also had Kota Kubo. Is it Kubo? Kudo. So Kota Kudo has returned from loan. Then you have Horiyuchi, who has also returned from loan. Then you have Shuta Sasa, who was coming from another Japanese side. 5 defensive players that have been brought into this club and have conceded the most amount of goals in the competition. That's a problem. That is a big problem. And of these 5 players, you've only seen 2 make the bench against Makeda Zelvia. 2. And in the games before that, you've seen 1 or 2 kind of mix it up. They haven't really been mainstays. So they've spent all this money to bring these players in, only for them to not be featuring. And that, for me, screams ridiculous business, right? Like, look at the total transfers as well that this manager, that Cho, has brought in through the offseason. I have pointed out 5 defensive players, right? But when you have a look at the numbers, he's actually brought in 12 complete players, like 12 all round. You have a striker, 5 midfielders, 4 defenders, 2 goalkeepers. This tells me that Cho had identified early that midfield and defense was going to be an issue this season. And in that, 2 of the 5 midfielders that have been brought in are defensively focused, Which leads me to question, what the fuck is the problem? Is it that the squad doesn't gel together? Have they not had enough time to work together yet? Do we just not know? I'm not exactly sure. But to concede 11 goals in 3 games is honestly laughable, especially after signing the 12. 11 goals in 3 games is too much. And if I'm sitting in the boardroom, I'm going to be asking these questions. Why did we spend all this money building a defensive structure only to concede the most goals in the game, like in the opening 3 games of the entire league? This looks far worse when you look at last season, the 2025 season, where they conceded 39 goals in 38 games. Ura have now conceded 11 in 3. By that stat, it's fucking disastrous. But in saying that, it is game 3. We need to also understand that this is a new outfit after a major shift in talent at the club, and this can take time for the players to gel. The Reds, however, are a club that consider themselves to be the Manchester United of Asia, as I said before, and their fans expect instant success. Will time turn the tides for the Ura Red Diamonds? Will they gel in time to rise up that ladder? It's still early in the season. There's still plenty of time to go. However, right now, it's really not looking good. Then, we need to have a look over at Machida Zelvia. They're the complete opposite reverse of this conversation. From what I can see, from what I've seen this season, only one team will be able to keep up with them at this point, and that's the Kashima Antlers. I personally think that Machida may have the edge on them here. Right? Their record this season is, let me just bring up their logo so you know who we're talking about. Here we go. Machida Zelvia. This season, they have won 3 out of their 3 games. They have scored 12 goals. They've scored more goals than the Red Diamonds have conceded, which is pretty impressive. What's even more impressive is they've only conceded 2 goals in 3 games. 2 and 3, which tells you how solid these players, this actually is. This club and the team that they put together appears to be very much the shaping of a championship side. Not only have they won those 3 games, 3 games in a row, they won this morning in the Emperor's Cup. Now that was, however, against a J3 side, so it was considerably weaker opposition. But I think for our for the Aussie viewers that are a part of this, it really does give you the opportunity to see how well Australians play in Japan. Japan being the top in Asia when it comes, they're the number 1 team in Asia. So we are going to pay a lot of attention to them this season. Makeda Zelvia have 2 players that are Australian playing in that team. One of them is our good boy, Tate Yengi. Tate Yengi is a player who, for me, was called up to the Socceroos in the World Cup. I knew next to nothing about this boy. I know Kashina Yengi, his brother. I know nothing about Tate Yengi. And I watched him play in the World Cup, and I just simply was not impressed with what I saw. I saw a sluggish player with a really heavy touch. He didn't really seem to have too much of an eye for goal. But I've got to be honest with you. This season, he's turning it around. When I wrote this out, he only scored, was it 3? How many scores had he? How many goals has he done? I had it here. So when I wrote this, he had only scored 2 goals this season. One of them being a Mitch Duke. This fella, a Mitch Duke assist. He's another Australian player. You boys doing well. The Central Coast Mariners wonder boy, Mitch Duke, recently retired from the Socceroos format, is playing in Japan, came to Zelvia on a free transfer, which is pretty amazing, and he is having a season to remember. Now let's have a look at, well, we can knock out one of Zengi's goals and one of Duke's assists in one go. It's fucking great. Right? Yankee takes it on the chest, he brings it down, he toe punts it in, winning, right? 2 touches, touchdown, shot. That cross, on the other hand, just watch that again. That is Mitch Duke, and that is a perfect cross. That was so beautifully weighted that there was Yankee didn't even have to move. He just got to stand there, and the ball just went poof, right off his chest. Honestly, it's amazing. I'm very, very impressed with that cross. In saying that, Duke's done it again. If you didn't see it, let's watch it again. That very, very cheeky little no-look pass that he puts through to Nakamura to score that goal, honestly, it's pretty fucking... I'm pretty impressed with it, to be honest with you. Duke seems to be hitting his stride again as a 34-year-old, and he's like from a transfer market perspective, he's not worth all that much. His estimated value is only about 250 grand. Like, it's a decent amount of money for someone like you and I. Well, you probably earn more than I do, which is fine. I'm okay with that. It is what it is. By the way, if you want to throw money at me, donate it to someone else. I don't want it. Where's I going with this? I'm being a fucking idiot. That's what I'm doing. So Duke is actually playing really well. Now, if he hadn't have retired from the Socceroos, I actually think he could have done a pretty decent job at the World Cup. And I still think he has a lot to offer the national team going forward. But right now, watching him succeed at Makeda Selvia makes me really happy. So far this season, we're seeing the Aussie boys contribute. Mitch Duke has 1 goal to his name, 3 assists. Tate Yengi now has 3 goals to his name. And by the way, the goal this morning, I don't have a clip of it, but I've seen it. It's like a backward positioning header that he manages to get up and hit it in. It's actually a really solid goal. And I'm really quite impressed from that. So when you think about round 3 of the J League this season, I want you to really remember that there are Australians involved in 7 goals. 7 goal involvements with Australians. And that is something to be proud of. The title race is now between 3 teams. And this can change very quickly, considering it's only round 3. But at the moment, it's between Makeda Zelvia, Kashiwa Rasol, and the Kashima Antlers. All 3 teams look to be taking the challenge to each other. They're all in 9 points. However, Machida has them beat on goal difference. Okay. That is about all I have in terms of content. This is a show that you can call in via the Discord. You can join the Discord. You can call in. I have to make sure that when I put these edits up, you guys can absolutely see that is a reality of the show. Like big flashing things. Call in, because I don't do a good enough job with anything else. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for paying attention to this week's Weekend Footballer. This is still a work in progress, and I have had a lot more content tonight than I did in week 1, which was 2 weeks ago. This show is going to be a Thursday night show every week. So we're going to do this out. I would love to get this out to an hour. At the moment, I got 35 minutes. We're going to do it better. Last time was 22. We've added 10. We've got this. We're going to do better. All right, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I shall see you